Thank you, guys. We are going to begin with a Fox News alert. Listen to this. 40 days now at the top of the Democratic ticket. Yesterday, Vice President Kamala Harris finally giving that long-promised formal sit-down interview. Taped, though, not live, but we did see 27 minutes from Harris and her running mate. Critics say it left them with more questions than answers. This is the Faulkner Focus. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday to you. I'm Julie Banderas in for Harris today. So it was the very first time that the vice president was pressed on all of those liberal policy backtracks we've seen since she announced her candidacy. Policies like border security, Medicare for all, gun buybacks. Also at issue where she stands now on fracking versus her previous position.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking. I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
So here's what the VP said during her 2019 presidential run, and also what she said during the 2020 debate she referred to. Listen closely to how she words her answer. Watch.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Sure. So, first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Joe Biden would not ban fracking. That's despite defending her policy flip-flops. She made this claim.
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. My values have not changed. So that is the reality of it.
Former President Trump not impressed. He posted that Harris, quote, rambled incoherently and, quote, America will become a wasteland if she's elected. His running mate earlier this morning.
If you have the same values, why have you changed your mind on literally every topic that you previously held an opinion on? She's just trying to pretend that she's not far left now because, of course, she wants to win the American people's votes. It's really absurd for Kamala Harris to sit there and say, well, I don't actually believe in any of the thing that I told you I believed 3 years ago. She has governed as a person who believes those things, and unfortunately, the American people are far off because of it.
Fox News contributor Joe Concha says the long-awaited formal interview can be summed up in just 2 words: dishonest and train wreckalicious, which he admits may not be an actual word, but he calls it appropriate. Longtime Obama advisor David Axelrod's take, meh.
I think on the whole, this was a good night. It wasn't a huge, I don't think she moved the ball that much forward, but she certainly didn't fall back.
Senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich picks up the story from here. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, Julie. One thing that was very clear from that interview is Vice President Harris has been a good number 2 to Joe Biden. She has embraced his policies as her own and put no daylight between them, even as she resisted detailed explanations for how she got there, especially on policy issues like fracking. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes, the vice president said she is now convinced that the U.S. can meet all of its climate goals without a fracking ban, which would play poorly in Pennsylvania. She notably didn't disavow any of the Biden administration's green mandates and regulations. And she said the country needs to stick by timetables to reach targets for carbon emissions and other green demands. Ms. Bash didn't follow up, so Ms. Harris escaped again on costs or feasibility. Her campaign today is also relatively light on the details.
She made it clear that some of her positions have evolved, which is very standard when you're in public service. When you learn more about the issues, as things evolve, sometimes your positions do evolve. She leaned into her position on fracking, which, by the way, is the same position that she had in 2020.
Here's the reaction from the other side.
Even though I'm running against her, I felt a little bad for her because it was clear that she wasn't totally sure-footed and she didn't totally know why she was saying the things that she was saying. She's been coached to pretend to be a moderate.
So the task ahead for Trump will be to zero in on Harris's policy evolutions and make her explain where exactly her values haven't changed and what that means now. But it will take a disciplined campaign. And in the meantime, Harris is not getting comfortable or distracted by a recent bump in battleground polls.
This is going to be a tight race until the very end, okay? So let's not pay too much attention to the polls because we are running as the underdog, okay? And we have some hard work ahead of us.
Notably, on Labor Day, the vice president and President Biden will make a joint appearance in swing state Pennsylvania, where fracking is so important. It will be only their second joint appearance since he dropped out. Julie.
Jackie Heinrich, thank you very much. Tammy Bruce, Fox News contributor, joins me now in studio. It is a very slippery slope when you are a politician and you go on record on one issue and then you completely flip-flop years later, especially when you are running for the president of the United States. You used the term slippery when you were listening to her comments earlier. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, she wants it always. She does not want to be pinned down. She wants to be everything to everyone. And the problem is we're now in a world where we believed them in 2020 that he was going to be a uniter, that everything was going to return to normal. And we believed that we knew what that meant. And this is what we've got. A world at war, an economy that is a disaster, an erased southern border, unmitigated crime, housing costs out in an outrageous situation, billions suggested now for housing for foreigners, for illegal aliens in this country. We don't know how to look up. So when you've got someone who is from that administration coming in, has never been a shy woman. Kamala Harris has made very clear what her positions have been. She can be very passionate about those positions, about telling people that the 2020 riots were not going to end, and they shouldn't end, supporting the bail fund for people who were burning down the cities. She knew what she believed in. She didn't have to be coached. But now, what is the coaching? Oh, she's Mary Poppins now.
Right.
She's Mary Poppins. And it's a coaching, as Vance has noted, to not really say anything. It's like a freshman who's always skated by, and you've got a 50,000-word essay you're supposed to turn in, and you want to fill it up with as many meaningless words as you possibly can. Our lives are at stake, not theirs. The average American's life is at stake, economically, and when it comes to safety. We need more here than cynical kabuki theater.
Yeah, I want to take a look at a few of the headlines on the interview. Kamala Harris shows her true lefty colors, admits values have not changed. Kamala Harris took 39 days to say nothing at all. The Wall Street Journal op-ed board argues this. Kamala Harris's campaign handlers were not high-fiving each other watching their candidates interview. The VP got away, for the most part, with repeating her campaign's platitudes and was never seriously challenged on anything. That's a shame, because voters still haven't received a straight answer about whether and how she has changed her views from the far-left positions she espoused. We take it as a studied wink to her left flank that she's on their side, but can't say so clearly until she's elected.
So we learned a lot about Kamala Harris, that she has complete contempt for the American people, that she'll use winks, and that the American people, the voters who don't agree with her, are just drooling idiots who won't know what the difference is. Also, keep in mind, she says they won't ban fracking. What she will do is make it impossible.
Right.
She'll make it impossible with rules and regulations. So be careful when you listen to someone like this use very specific words. And I do contend we learned everything about her.
Sure.
We learned that she does have positions, and she had to work very hard to not say them to people last night. And Dana Bash, she didn't address all the issues, by the way. Not the unrealized tax gains.
Right.
Harris mentioned price controls through the price gouging. Bash said nothing about that. I mean, it was a remarkable thing to watch, and as a feminist, very disappointed in two women who had an opportunity to make a difference, and they, in fact, sang lullabies to each other.
I liked the fact that Dana Bash did question why would we want to vote in Kamala Harris when the economy was stronger under President Trump. She acknowledged that, right? Then Kamala Harris comes out and says, well, you know, inflation is down. We inherited an economy where hundreds of thousands of jobs were lost because of the pandemic. Well, obviously, when you hit rock bottom, there's only one way up, right?
Yeah.
But what I didn't like is that she didn't press her on those answers.
Well, of course.
Well, exactly. What have you done? She did mention, well, why haven't you done anything about it in the last 3.5 years? Why would the American public now believe that you are now going to take action?
She said we're trying.
So there wasn't pressing. It was softball questions with no follow-ups, which was unfortunate to the American people. And we didn't learn much about her policies. She says her values have not changed. Her positions on, well, wait a second. What do you mean? So what you're saying is that 4 years ago, you did not believe in open borders?
Well, but see, values, this is what's interesting.
And now you're going to change your mind?
That's the wink. That's the wink. to the left flank. Whatever it is that made her think that, yes, these riots should never stop, and made her think that multiple times she'd say that she would ban fracking, that, the value system. In other words, I'll do this, but in a different way, wink, wink. Also, Bash did ask her, when she asked her about what would you do on day one? A word salad, nothing clear. And then Bash said to her again, well, what about day one? Let her get away with it again. We don't know. Remember, this was edited. We don't know what was left on the floor. This is the best parts of what that exchange was. Look, the American people have to decide to not be gaslit. They have to decide that this is not acceptable.
Here was another follow-up that I would have loved to have seen Dana push harder on when she asked her, well, what exactly made you reverse your idea on fracking? Because you were so aghast. Did you see some facts out there? Did you actually see numbers that would support that this would be better for our economy if you did not ban fracking?
How did it happen?
And she just went with the whole Green New Deal and we can afford it. It was just, she dusted it under the rug. And Dana didn't press on her on that, and I would have loved to have heard her do more on that.
Because values is the wink.
Yeah. Okay, values, sure. During the interview, by the way, the VP nominee, Governor Tim Walz, downplayed his highly criticized misstatement about his military service. You got to watch this if you missed it. Watch.
You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom, whether it's Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves.
And the idea that you said that you were in war, did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct.
Do you buy that? He misspoke?
Yeah, no, he's had months to figure out what to say here, and he blames it on a school shooting and that he speaks like other Americans, so I guess we all lie about stolen valor when we're under stress or at an event. He knew, and he blames it on things. Talk about slippery. This was his feeling, again, the contempt, that you can say this, it's grammar. Yeah, no, it's not. And Americans, this is insulting, but this is where he decided to land. Again, refusing. And he's done it multiple times over years. It wasn't at one event. But this is why, if you've got people who are willing to lie at this point or to just kind of push us away as though we're toddlers, what do you think they're going to do to this country?
I think what's most insulting is those American families who have lost loved ones in actual war, who have given and paid the ultimate sacrifice. That's where it becomes incredibly insulting. He, in fact, owes them all an apology.
Yes, exactly.
I believe. But anyway, Tammy Bruce, always great to see you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.